Welcome to Over the Falls podcast, episode 22. This week, we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary of the podcast, and in this episode, we take a look back at everything we've learned and discussed with ourselves and guests over the last 21 episodes. We want to take this opportunity to thank you all for listening, commenting, and sharing our posts. It really helps with reaching out to more and more people that may need it. A special thanks goes to the local businesses Aber Instruments, Greenhouse Scaffolding, Sunny Vaughan Electrical, CBW Property Management, MS Properties, and of course Lee Coulson from Aberystwyth Basketball Club. Your generosity recently was unbelievable. Thank you. Right, here we go then. Welcome to Over the Falls podcast number 22.
Number 22.
22. So just going to take this opportunity to sort of reflect on the journey that we've been on, really. And yeah, just look back, what we've learned.
Are we going to say why?
We can do.
It's the anniversary.
It's our 1 year anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's almost a year to the day. And I just did a quick tally up. Collectively, we've been in this room almost 31 hours.
That's awesome.
It's crazy,
I didn't think that.
So, yeah. So reflection then. Med, do you want to
we've been chatting off air, haven't we? So our latest podcast was Chris Reese, that amazing man. And he opened our world up with recent chats about alcohol. Mm-hmm. So I guess when we knew we were going to have Chris Reese on, we were going to talk about our own experiences with alcohol and, you know, highs and lows, etc. But I've been thinking since that episode, particularly, I wanted to get off my chest, like, the passing of my Uncle Colin. Uh-huh. So I've got, like, the story in my head, so just bear with me while I'll just whip it out there.
You go for it, Med.
So in 2021, I realised this isn't quite unrelated, but it does get related. Me and Mark Ricks, who we love the Swans, we decided to get together and go and watch the Swans in October of 2021. I was going to take Rach because there was a gig that night as well, so I was going to go to the football day. Rach was going to see a friend, and I was going to go to the gig afterwards with Rach, have a really good time, drive home the next day. Swansea lost. Anyway, when I woke up that morning on the 24th of October, I had like a few missed calls off my mum. You know, I was in a little bit of a hangover, let's say, and I picked up the phone, rang her back, and she told me the news that my Uncle Colin had died in the night. So, massive shock, but not a surprise, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, Old Colin was, as many listeners will know if they know who he was an alcoholic man who didn't, to the best of my knowledge, ever try to help himself with it. It got worse and worse and worse over the last decade. And I think, if I remember correctly, that there was a time around 2013 where he told me that he was sober for 6 months and he maybe had a small attempt to shape himself up. But then I remember that we had a Mid-Mad festival at the Arts Centre, because we used to do that every year. And I saw him drinking in a corner, and he was like trying to hide it from me, because I was working security that day, and it was just like, oh man. So going back to when I was younger, my Uncle Colin was always like I wouldn't say as strong a word as a role model, but he was like a man in my life that I could see, like, he loved metal. You know, he'd be like smoking cigarettes and like you know, a bit of a rebel, and maybe that influenced me a lot more than I know. But I always used to see him with a drink, and I always used to just think it was completely normal for him. But I'd look around the rest of my family, and they weren't drinking at the same times as him, and all that sort of thing. And it really mirrored what Chris said, where it's that it starts off with the party life and going out on an all-dayer, which is really good fun, and I guess Colin never let go of that. And then we lost touch. He grew up, I grew up. I started doing school, etc. I'd only ever see him around Christmas times, where the family were all together and he'd sort of drop in. But he was always so drunk, and he'd never stay for long. So he's just like a fleeting visit. I remember asking my dad, like, is he an alcoholic? So I think by the time I'd asked that, I realised what an alcoholic is, and he's like, yeah, he's got a massive drinking problem. So anyway, fast forward maybe a few years, and I was working in the National Library, and my uncle got a job as our kitchen porter, and I just thought it was so weird being above him in the kitchen, like hierarchy wise, because I was a chef, he was not, and I'd walk in and like he'd turn around and like he'd be hiding a can of like alcohol underneath the dishwasher, and I'm like, Cole, you can't drink at work, and he'd just be like, no, I'm not. like what? You are?
Yeah, full on hiding it basically.
Such an awkward position, and I didn't grasp on him, but within I think 2 or 3 weeks he'd lost that job, and I figured he was just bouncing around all these different places. He wasn't like he wasn't a nasty person. He wasn't like a malicious man, as far as I know. He wasn't like spiteful. He just didn't care about anyone else. Maybe that's not fair. He'd always give me a Christmas card, me and Cara. He'd always he'd call us nubbins, which is a really weird term, but that was him. He was a very strange sort of man. But he didn't. It's like he didn't care enough about everybody else in terms of trying to save him his own life. So we all talked to him on the level. My dad did. I'm sure his sister, my mum did, and he never gave it up and never stopped it. So when he left this world, like my mum had to deal with all of that basically alone, because my grandfather's passed away like years ago. My grandmother is 93 this year. Hold on, let me get my maths right. 2023. Yeah, she's 93 this year. Well, she's had a birthday, and my mum had to deal with the death of Colin all on her own. So she got a phone call from the hospital saying Colin's been admitted to hospital. So she went and held his hand, like literally as he passed away. Like, now my mum blows my mind sometimes, because she's incredibly strong at things like that. But also everyday life is, she finds that a little bit of a struggle. That's another story. But imagine your brother or your sister on a table dying from alcohol abuse, and he was I think he was in his 50s. Yeah. Absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
And so after the Chris Reese episode, which was incredible, full of positivity, obvious sadness as well, like his story is incredible. He's really inspired me now personally to reflect. I know this is a reflecting episode, so reflect on how I treat alcohol, because I've found out, or not found out, but I've looked at myself recently, and like, it's so easy to come home from work and you've got 4-pack in the fridge and you just drink it every night of the week, and that's not good, is it? That's too much beer, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so. But
on anyone's level, yeah. I think. It's like I could just sleep with 4 beers and it was like fine.
Yeah.
I know that you have a big day at work or a frustrating day at work or whatever, or even a happy day at work, and the sun's out and you get home and you're like, oh, lovely. Just, I guess, be cautious is what I'm trying to say. It can happen, and it takes a long time, and it's a very painful death. Yeah. And it affects everybody around you, because he's gone and we're still, my grandma still, God bless her, she still sort of talks about him and as if he's still alive, and it's crazy.
You were saying about yourself then, Med. I mean, like you're saying about the 4 pints like after work or whatever it is. And I think you said it to Chris at the time as well. You at a point you were sort of at an edge where it could have gone.
I think
way.
if I'd continued to just drink 4 beers every night, yeah, because like I was waking up, and the longer this went on, I got more and more like I'd see was frustrated, or I was like short. I was like waking up with a headache. And I was like, why am I waking up with a headache? I only had 4 beers. You know, I was starting getting angry, a chip on my shoulder, going to work, having a bad day. So I've stopped now. So what I only do now is I only drink any beers or alcohol on the weekends, special occasions, things like that. So I think I might have caught something potentially quite dangerous, and changed it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I was a little bit worried about you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put my finger on when it actually was. I think it was through the pandemic.
The pandemic was insane.
Yeah, so
Like, it was like, because I didn't have my job,
yeah,
but I was still furloughed, I didn't really have anything else to do. I couldn't go outside, socialise and all that sort of stuff. So it was just too easy to just sit at home and drink beers.
Weirdly, you had nothing to be like sober for. I don't mean you had nothing to be sober for, but some people normally would think like, oh well, I can't just start drinking now because I'm going to work in like 2 hours.
exactly.
Yeah,
But then
but
I guess
that was gone.
the sun was
like
out. It was
absolutely
really
gone.
good weather, wasn't it?
And I
around
lived
that
in a
time?
really beautiful, quiet place, and Tesco was over the bridge. It's like,
Yeah, it's almost too easy.
it's like midday came. It's like just this. Like I wasn't getting wasted, but it was just like I was drinking like 6 to 8 beers a day, just like sitting in the garden listening to music all day, or playing
Yeah.
football, like just doing kick-ups or. But even if you drink a small amount every day, it's not, alcohol isn't like a healthy thing. You know, it's a poison at the end of the day, and I must have been doing some bad things to me. Yeah, definitely.
It was one of the reasons I asked Chris, like, how do you approach someone if you're worried about them? And in the back of my head, I was thinking about you at that time.
Yeah.
See,
So on that, like recently with this reflection, is my partner Rachel. We just had a chat. I think we was walking back from somewhere, and or driving back in the car, and she sort of she told me about the amount, and I knew my first instinct was no way. That's ridiculous. That's too much beer. That's not right. And then it was just like I knew the truth. I was like, you're kidding yourself. That's actually what you've drunk. And as soon as I walked in the house, I looked in the recycling bin, which is right by the door, and it was like, yeah, there's at least like 16 cans of Guinness in there, and it was Thursday, I think, or Friday. And like as I say though, I wasn't like drinking and getting pissed every night. It was just nice to do. So I tried to change that. I tried to be like cups of tea are nice now
Yeah.
instead. And then I can't sleep because my eyes are like that. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Decaf tea, fruit tea,
I refuse.
fruit tea.
So what tips have you got then? You've gone. Have you gone like cold turkey through the week then? Is that what you've done, or what?
Yeah. So
You stopped, not cold turkey.
So yeah, I'm
you
not.
stopped
I'm not.
drinking alcohol during the week.
What I want to try and end up being is a. This is going to sound so cliche or so weird. Is a healthy
Social
alcohol
drinker? I think of us sometimes in socially, like a social drinker, because I don't really drink unless I used to drink, particularly in the pandemic and stuff. Like I think a lot of people did, and you just be at home. But my partner never drinks at home. Fiance now, she never drinks at home, and so I'll try and only drink when it's like a social occasion, rather than a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Like tips. So maybe as we're talking about it, it's like I was on the brink of like being quite. It was a crux, you know, and that's really terrifying to have that, you know, in your face. And I flat refuse to let something like an unhealthy addiction govern my life. So I'm not going to let it. So my tip is to be, as Chris said in the podcast, be very truthful to yourself. Like if you for one moment think, because I did a lot, I thought, oh, you know, Rachel's gone to bed and I'm still up watching absolute nothing on TV, just like because I've got that much beer left in my can, which is my 4th beer. Like, why haven't I just gone to bed sober, wake up sober, and it's fine? Like, so that I think that moment where you have a little doubt that you're not doing things right, that's when you should really talk to somebody and or just have a word with yourself in the mirror and just stop. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not saying that everybody ends up on a slab, but he did, because he didn't stop. My uncle now, he didn't stop drinking, and he died from it really horribly.
And I guess he must have been at a certain point before he turned into an alcoholic. Everybody does, doesn't it? Everybody is socially drinking or normally drinking until it goes over that fulcrum point, and then it goes into alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I guess it must be so hard to know when that point is, because like what Chris said, he said he didn't even know when he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Let alone where the point is. I guess reflecting, looking back, he realised it was when he received that being. But for some people, I'm sure it's just such a grey area. You don't know.
Yeah. Related to this is it's my 40th year on the planet this year, as is yours, I think. Just last, yeah. So I've done some independent, like real, not secret sort of research, I guess, but I've been looking at a couple of stats and figures and all this sort of stuff. So this is like the last year that I'm ever in party mode. So this is it now. So like once you hit 40 as a man, as a male, everything starts to just get a bit weird inside you. So I think there we go. So
sort of like
I'm going to a festival this year, and I plan on having a good time, let's say, and that's going to be it for most unhealthy things that I'm doing to myself.
Okay.
Wind it back.
It's how my brain works. I like to have a date or a time where something's going to end and something's going to start. I like to think like that.
Nothing wrong with having a goal in a weird way.
Yeah, it works.
It's like a goal, isn't it?
And I'm really looking forward to it.
So
really looking forward to Download Festival, and really looking forward to afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What are you thinking? As in, like,
well, no ciggies, like, at all. And beer-wise, like, I think it's going to be very, very on occasion. So, like, a wedding or, I don't know.
Functions.
Something.
Celebrations,
like, I mean, I'm not going to stop drinking, but I'm going to be really, really mindful of what's the point of this beer, sort of thing. Why am I going to have this beer? Let's say. I'm going to be really mindful of it.
Fair play.
It's really hard to explain, actually. It's really hard to explain. And also it's really hard to admit. It's really hard to admit, especially in front of you two guys. Because we've been friends for years, and like we're at this point now, because we had never talked about this when we were kids. Like,
no.
Let's get absolutely drunk.
It'd be the polar opposite.
It'd be absolutely the opposite.
Polar opposite.
And so I definitely would say that I definitely was, if not I had a problem, that I was going to have a problem very soon. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing that you've sort of come around the other side, isn't it? Because, like you said, you could have gone.
I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got friends. I've got a wonderful partner who she's blunt. Like she'll tell me,
That's good though.
It's great. It's how I am. It's how I like need to have that sort of. I like things being real, and
I want to know how
not
that was
around
for
the
her
bush
to actually bring it up. She's obviously must have been thinking about it for some time.
Yeah.
So did you feel a bit like offended almost when she brought it up? Were you defensive, or what? How did it?
No, so it was. I was. As I say, so my mind went into two modes. It went into defense mode and truth mode, both at the same time, and it was the truth one that came out on top. So I was like, as I say, I wanted to deny it.
Yeah.
And say, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But see, I knew that it was bad. So I just let that win. I let that side win, and I was like, okay. So I had a really, really, let's say, grown-up chat about it. And as I said, when I got home and I looked in the recycling, I was like, my God, that's a lot of beer. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it was just a normal week at work. And I wasn't working nights. So I finished 3:30, get home, do the shopping, whatever, do the cooking. That's another thing, actually. When I cook, I love to drink.
Yeah.
I think that's very common as well.
I think it is, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So I really try and moderate that now. So if I'm cooking, because usually I have Mondays off, and I usually cook for the week for both of us, make a big curry or casserole or whatever, I will not drink on that day. Like, I will not drink at that time, because that's absolutely ridiculous, because I can start cooking at like 1 PM, whenever it suits. But I think a year ago I would have.
Yeah.
It's like have 3 or 4 beers and go and sit in the garden and fall asleep.
Yeah. Did Rachel find did you ask her if she found it hard to bring it up with you, or I understand you have quite an honest relationship. Did she find it easy to say it or not?
I really hope that she thought it was easy, like deep down. Like I really hope that she can approach me about anything, because I don't want to have a relationship where someone can't bring up something.
No, I know,
Like,
and she did bring it up, but I mean, I wonder if
and
she
she
was
brought it
mulling
up.
over
She
for a
brought it
couple
up
of
very gently, but there was no escaping what she was saying, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So she didn't go, "You're fucking drinking too much." She just went like, "Do you need to drink 4 beers tonight?" Sort of thing. And it's like, "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, you had 4 beers last night and the night before." Sort of thing. It's like, "Did I?" "Yeah, I did." Huh. So it's gentle but stern but fair. Let's say, yeah.
The seed was planted type of thing.
Yes.
Just like, yeah.
Yes.
No, fair play to her.
And yeah, so during the Chris Reese episode, I mean, the guest was great, right? We couldn't get a word in edgeways. It was
an
absolutely
amazing
perfect.
guest.
Great guest.
But like,
Amazing.
yeah, I just wanted to touch on that definitely, because those two things, my personal issue, I guess, there's no lack of a better word, and my uncle passing away, I really wanted to chat about on the podcast with him as well. But yeah, maybe next time. Maybe we'll get him again in a year or something.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great that, I don't know, it's amazing that you can talk about those things to us, let alone on a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's lovely that you've...
It's crazy because I feel like a weight has gone.
Oh, good.
It's really strange because, like, I don't know where, like what Chris said, I don't know where the line was. I don't know when it was like, how am I not doing the normal thing? Like, how am I being different? Because I always wanted to drink a lot with you guys, like growing up, and I guess that never stopped for me, like in a way.
Yeah,
and I've got
I know what you mean.
Going out to my bigger circle of friends, a day at the football with Mark, that's Pint Central, it's
Exactly.
Yeah, and then the next day, it's just an absolute write-off.
Yeah.
Sorry, I waffled a bit there.
Not at all, mate. No, I'm glad you got everything off your chest. Did you feel like you've got everything off what you wanted to discuss, mate? Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
So I've just written the notes here, like maybe some causes of my drinking was stress, because it's so easy to have something that takes the stress away or appears to take the stress away.
Takes the edge off it.
Yeah, exactly.
Such an easy one, isn't it?
I think it's what most people
the
do.
easiest possible thing, and once again to refer back to Chris with his mobile phone analogy,
Hey,
like
that's what I want to bring up.
you can drive home from work at 3:30 and stop at any shop, get as many beers as you possibly can fit in the car, and you can drink them if you want.
Yeah.
Who's stopping you? The only person that's stopping you is yourself, and I really think you should. I
think that's why, like, so many people, particularly on Friday. Friday's a bit different, isn't it? I guess, if they've not been drinking then on the Friday, but, pubs are pretty busy at 5 o'clock on a Friday and probably on a Thursday and maybe on a Wednesday. And people finish work and they think, I've had a pretty damn hard day in work now. It's like the work hard, play hard thing, isn't it? A little bit,
Yeah, I mean, did we talk about that like on one of our episodes?
We did, I think,
back in the day when I was a chef and stuff. And
construction and the chef.
Yeah, it's like
we did talk about it.
You finish a really good service and you're still in the building that you've been working in. All the guests have left the restaurant and it's just you and the staff behind. And there's a bar. Do you know what I mean? Like, you sit down, have a couple of cigarettes and a pint. It feels like...
Yeah.
Mate, it's bliss.
It feels like bliss.
Yeah, it does. I remember when I used to work in Cafe Noir.
Incredible.
White wine and Marlboro Lights is what I used to have after the shift. Obviously, this is many, many moons ago when I was about 20 before I went travelling. But there's no other way to say it. It was absolutely bliss. Like, wrecked from like 12 hours in the day in like a really heavy service. And then everybody, I don't know, it was like... I don't know. It was like a bonding thing almost. You sat on that couch. Yeah. You literally had like a glass of Chardonnay and then a Marlboro Light, and it was obviously lovely.
You feel like a king.
Winding down, isn't it? It's just like taking the edge off.
So I think that's why people find it so difficult to quit things like cigarettes or alcohol or other substances, because stress is a big one, I think.
Like, what's the healthy amount of alcohol to consume a week?
I don't know what's going on the guidance.
Yeah, there is a guidance. I don't know.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know. 3
3 or 4 beers a week, maybe. I'm just guessing. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I know what makes me feel bad, and I've done experiments. I've had a week, many weeks now, because this sort of reflection happened to me maybe at the end of March. So what are we in?
Not
maybe
that long ago.
Maybe a little
6
bit before. And I've done a couple of experiments where I've like on a Friday night I've drunk 4 beers when I've got a day off on Saturday, so it doesn't hinder my work. But I've woken up with a headache, and I'm like, right, that's shit. Like, let's not do that anymore. And then I've done the same, but not drunk any beer, and it's like, duh, you haven't got a headache.
You feel
great, and you feel great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's amazing that you've recognised it, though. Fair play to Rachel for bringing it up as well.
Yeah.
Probably quite, I know she's a partner and everything, but quite brave to bring it up.
She's amazing.
So, yeah, good.
I'd say what I took out of that episode was the mobile phone thing from Chris. That really hit home.
Yes.
Honestly. I've really subconsciously stopped looking at my phone. Oh God, I must have looked at it so many times for that episode per day.
Yeah.
It's absolutely terrifying. It's just horrible thinking how much time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the biggest problem for me is are reels.
Yeah.
You look on Facebook or
Instagram. Like a 4 or 5 second video.
Bang.
Yep.
Next.
Yeah,
Next.
it's like
20 minutes on Reels, easy.
Hour. Hour gone
just,
some nights.
It's like an addictive substance going straight into your brain.
And I end up getting like really pissed off. After an hour, I look at the watch and I'm like, what have you done?
Oh, you're immediately annoyed with yourself because the watch of the hour.
Annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, what could I have done in that hour?
Yeah. This is where I'm getting to. Like, it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
Sometimes though, I'm laughing so hard.
So, right,
I think
that's
Reels
the problem.
because I'm not just saying they're all. And TikTok is essentially just Reels. That's all that is reel, and I'm howling.
I thought about this today.
I'm
thought about
crying.
this today. When the mobile phones that we had access to only had Snake on them, right?
Top score is about
33-10.
I think mine's 3. Anyway,
Snake 2 was good.
What did you do when you went to have a poo?
What,
Read
beforehand?
stuff like read shampoo.
When those
read
phones
back
were
of
around.
Yeah, shampoo.
Yeah.
Maybe the surfing magazines
Toothpaste.
on the system.
Yeah, so there was always a
Fluoride.
little stack of your dad's mags or whatever.
Percentage
was there,
of
and you'd read
fluoride.
them.
Yeah.
The good old days.
What is it now? What's
Phone.
next to your toilet?
Of course, it's a phone, isn't it?
It's just a phone.
Everybody looks at their phone.
And I remember, sorry, this is going to gross some people out, but I remember seeing this wonderful picture. I think they're called memes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of this like horrible troll covered in like mud, which is supposed to be shit.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it like that, and he's saying, the poo on your ass, waiting to dry while you're looking on your phone.
Oh, mate. That's just bad.
I do love a good meme.
Memes are amazing.
Oh,
Memes are quality.
There's some amazing ones. People have got too much time on the internet, but they
genius.
come up with amazing things, though, to be fair. But yeah, you know what? Reels and things like
You
that.
just want to watch the next one?
You
just want to watch the next one? You just want to watch the next
Yeah.
one?
We talked about the social media episode, didn't we, ages ago?
Yeah,
and
we
it
did.
was like, they know your profile, so they know what to throw at you. And they know how to reel you in, and you're off.
The old algorithms.
Oh,
And even if you pause for like 0.4 of a second longer on, say, a construction joke reel, they're like, right, he likes them. And then you're going to get those.
Yeah.
Or whatever, bikes, or it doesn't matter what it is, the algorithm will get you.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
frustrating.
I don't know how it's happened, but I got so many Lord of the Rings ones now.
Exactly. They know you.
Yeah, they know.
Your
It's
reels
crazy.
will be different to yours and mine.
But what?
Family Guy, do you get a load of them?
Oh, my God. Family
No,
Guy
I
reels.
don't. I don't.
I get some of them
any. I don't get any.
South Park I get.
Yeah.
Really funny South Park.
But what me and Rachel love to do, Rachel's my partner, what we love to do is we love to, while we're both using the loo, we send each other the best ones of what we've just seen.
Yeah.
So I can hear her phone going, and I'm like, she's going to laugh in a minute. And then I hear her phone, and she goes, that was a good one. Like,
Mate,
So
I know.
bad.
I think a lot of people send each other reels.
I think though, once that morning activity's got out the way, you need to stop and go about your day then.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there's anything wrong with having a poop and
Oh, no, it's
going on them. And
No, there's not. I just think sometimes, like what Dave's saying, he's been trying to be better recently because
Yes.
of what Chris said.
Yes.
What I've been doing in the night times, when I put the kids to bed around 7 o'clock, I go on to do not disturb mode unless I am on call.
Yeah.
Different if I'm on call. But you know what? I even go into my settings on WhatsApp now if I'm on call, and I'll turn off notifications when it gets to bed. So I got 2 tricks. I'll either slide it down, hit the do not disturb when I'm not on call. If I'm on call, I will go down to the very bottom WhatsApp settings and say turn off notifications.
Yeah.
And then I'll do that, try and spend quality time with my fiance in the night time, and then maybe I'll look at it then at like 9:30, 10, and then I've got stuff to look at. But like even that, just not being on your phone for 2 hours is good.
It's really
Definitely.
good.
Just I don't know. It's just
Because I went away for a weekend a little while ago, and I was like, I'm definitely going to switch my phone off for the whole weekend. I want a complete detox.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Couldn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Was that recently or not recently?
Recently. As in, like, not before the Chris Reese episode. So
Yes.
maybe
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a month,
but
or when I went to Pembrokeshire for that weekend.
What I'm saying, within the year, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I know.
like within 4 or 5 weeks, I said to my partner, I was like, I just want a complete detox. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had an issue, but you know,
Yeah.
it's hard to admit, isn't it?
It is,
Like,
yeah.
no, I'm fine with it, but like, yeah, couldn't do it.
So what made you? Can you remember what made you want to pick it up?
What? It's just habit.
Like specific, like.
Notifications,
But
really.
you know,
Notifications.
but you know the phone's off, right? Because you turned it off.
No, I couldn't really turn it off.
Oh, sugar. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, as well,
Because I get
think it
FOMO
reads
when
you.
I know my phone's on. I'm like, have I got 8 messages? Have I got 1? And I got to look.
But like,
none. Great.
Obviously, if I'm in work, it's away from me. You know,
Yeah.
this is like out of work hours or weekends,
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. You know, because
Yeah.
obviously you've got work to do. But then.
Yeah.
I think your phone knows when you're not looking at it as well, so it'll just start pinging just random notifications. I don't get notifications off like a newspaper, which I used to follow, but I don't anymore.
Weird.
It just
it
tries to reel you in
Well, yeah.
somehow. It's clever.
It is.
it's
Should we just have a quick like
sickening.
go back to the beginning of this podcast and just have a chat about how we not
Not
necessarily
like episode 1.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy
like-
to do it that way. I know you've sort of written
You've
your
gone
notes the other
backwards,
way.
mate.
Yeah, but I can go forward.
But yeah, are you happy to go to, let's say, the first episode that we didn't even film?
Yeah.
It was about films.
It
Is
was
that
about
right?
films,
So
yeah.
episode 1 was about films. Let's just get the ball rolling on that episode, the mistakes maybe we made, and let's just talk about that, to be honest.
Well, it was just we just sat down, didn't we? And we just said like we'll just pick. We each put a random subject in the hat.
That was it. I forgot about
And it
that.
was
yeah,
just-
we said we were going to do that
Yeah, we did.
pretty much every episode, didn't we?
Yeah, because we didn't really know the direction it was going to take. We just knew we wanted to sort of sit down and chat.
We knew
and
we
just-
wanted guests, though, didn't we? We said that as well. I remember you saying that. Did we not say that on the first episode?
I think we spitballed maybe every 5 episodes we get a guest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Or
just
every
thinking about
3
your
or
intro
something
that
like
you
that.
Oh yeah,
recorded.
yeah,
It
we
was-
knew we would eventually
Yeah.
get guests. I think it was
Yeah.
just when we knew we were ready, type of thing. I think wasn't it?
Yeah, we were just gonna be 3 guys in a room talking about a random subject that we'd pick out of the hat on that day, weren't we?
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
prove to everybody out there that it's really good to do.
Just to chat,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to chat about stuff.
Because we tangent like good ones.
Yeah,
We
really good.
I think what I was alluding to a little bit was I guess the progression, because like we all talked over each other really, really bad. Like everyone's got to start from somewhere, but I guess what I'm
Absolutely,
trying
yeah.
to say is like, I'm not trying to say we're really good now or anything, but we have certainly got better.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it
Crazy.
helped that we started speaking to the right side of the microphone by about episode 11.
not too bad.
That helps.
just shows that, like, I guess.
We didn't know what we were doing,
No.
you know. But that's good. That's a good thing. Like you said, we had to start somewhere.
Of course you do.
And it was quite nerve-wracking, if I'm completely honest. Like I was nervous doing the first two.
I was
or
quite
three,
I was quite
definitely.
nervous when the first one was like signed and sealed, and it was gonna be
Yeah.
and you said I think like it's gonna be out tomorrow. Or
Yeah.
I'm just finalising it now.
Do you remember another thing about it? as
Hell's
well?
bells real?
We talking about alcohol. I think we all had a beer
We had to.
on that episode.
Yeah.
Like Dutch. No, not so much, but yeah, I guess to relax you a little bit.
Right.
Right.
So
But that's a classic male thing.
I know, but that's why
Isn't
I'm
it?
bringing it up. It's
Yeah.
like the alcohol thing, and then that was our first
couple of beers.
podcast.
Talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were like, look, to just shed some layers, let's have like a beer or two
Yeah.
and get it going.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, obviously, pretty early on, we realised certainly don't need to have a beer
No.
doing a podcast.
So I mean, this is the last thing I'll mention about beer, but like it does sort of release that talking way about a person.
Lubricates
doesn't it? Yeah,
the conversation.
Initially.
Yeah, but it can go too far. It can go
Yeah, of course
into
it can.
stupidity, and you're not thinking
But if
straight.
you think about it now, that like the amount of time that we've spent, God knows, over the years chatting anyway. But then since we've been doing this, look, we're all sitting here now and drinking squash. You've had a coffee.
Yeah.
You've had
Coke.
water.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't matter anymore.
No.
No.
Do you know that it's gone? Like, because we're so comfortable in here chatting about absolutely anything that's thrown at us now, I think. Which is because it's great to talk,
It's
isn't it?
real.
Yeah.
And it feels so good that it's real, and I can remember it, and it's lucid and
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
And the more we talk, the more comfortable we are.
Yeah, you don't need
Exactly.
5 beers to open up, do you?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But you start
Like-
getting into the realm of weirdness and
So we did films, travelling, and then I know I'm just going to skirt over those two real quickly because I think the third episode we did, which was like, why don't men talk, was the one that I think really bonded us three and realised that actually this thing works, as in like just the three of us opening
Yeah.
up to each other and like
'Cause we all said,
learning
didn't
about
we?
you, learning about myself, and it was just like, shit.
Was that when you mentioned about in school you had that dread? Was that?
No, that was later on. But
was a bit
like,
later
it
on,
talks
wasn't it?
about.
I talked about my
Duke's
dad's
father
death and stuff, and there was other things as well. But I think it was like, it felt like the first proper episode, but it was really good to have films and travelling because they kind of were like the pilots.
Absolutely.
As in you can get the bad habits and so it was really raw, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
as in just raw form 2 episodes. And then it was like that was the proper episode and the reason why we started the podcast as well, wasn't
exactly. You know, and it was amazing that we actually sat down in this room for an hour and a half, and it was almost like there was like a little buzz after it, wasn't there, that we'd actually full on
Yeah, it
opened
was
up, and
full
it was
on
just
buzz.
like just opened
Yeah.
up to each other. And it was the first time.
I remember going home and always
Really,
like,
like-
it went really well, but I'm not going to tell you about it because it's going to be a
Yeah.
really good episode. And
I think you were thinking about potentially the Dave doing the Iron Man episode because then Dave opened up after the stresses of doing the Iron Man. What do you think about that one?
Yeah.
Possibly, but I think it was maybe. Was it the men's mental health one?
Yeah, we talked
Well, there was
about
two.
like,
There was two.
yeah, we did
episodes.
the how are you, the way that men
That's it. The
skirt
How Are
over
You
stuff.
episode. Yeah.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I mean,
Because I talked about like how much I hate my body and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff, and you mentioned in school that you dreaded like being asked to speak in front of people or
Yeah.
answer a question.
Yeah.
Blah. Yeah,
Mm.
good. That's good stuff, that isn't it?
Well, it is, isn't
Love
it? Because I'd kept that so deep
Yeah,
down.
I didn't know anything about that.
And you know, it wasn't easy to bring it up again because I think it was only like my partner and that was it at the time, really. That I'd really spoken to anyone about it, and it's just good to open up and talk about any issues you've got, basically, because it just makes things so much easier.
Definitely.
And I wish I'd opened up beforehand. Talk about social media.
Yeah, we did that one.
Social media is a big one.
We definitely, I think I wrote down that we need to readdress, like, do another social media one.
Yeah.
I mean, such a huge subject.
We
isn't
touched
it?
on something just now that we didn't talk about in that episode, I think, which is these reels and like the full-on like addiction of
Yeah.
just looking at reels.
I think we did talk a little bit about the algorithm though, because there was
Yeah,
that
we did, yeah.
documentary that I think we've all seen, or I think maybe me and Dave have seen anyway on Netflix, and they talk about the algorithms and they're just trying to sell something to you, aren't they? Get your attention, keep you on your phone for as long as possible, and hit you with essentially adverts, or just keep your attention there, isn't it? It's quite scary actually, and then it rolls into sort of like a little bit of like the AI thing, and I'd like to do maybe not. Well, we could dedicate a whole episode to it, but like I'd like to talk about like AI in the future, and where a lot of people in the tech industry are quite worried about it, and it basically sounds like Terminator could happen, like Skynet, and I've seen bloody reels again, but I've seen some really good reels where people like Elon Musk and other people in the tech industry, and they go, the problem is I don't think we can stop it now. It's kind of like a train or a snowball going downhill where there's damage limitation, maybe what we can do, but I don't think you can stop it now because they've already like hit that button. They've already like Chat GPT.
They've opened that gate.
I mean,
and
they've
it's-
already started that now, and it's already utilizing human beings by emailing them or messaging them to rope them into a situation that they can't complete on their own as a android, whatever you want to call it, and they're getting humans involved. That's how smart they are to get ways round completing a task. I mean, it's... Anyway.
Didn't someone really high up recently just quit from Google because he was
Yeah.
like, I designed this thing and it's not what it was designed for.
Yeah.
And he's like, gosh, this
I
is
don't know.
really
I
scary.
think it's a British
I'm
guy. I
out.
saw a little reel of him talking, like a guy with glasses, maybe on the news, and yeah, he said it's bad. He said it's going to be bad.
Oh my word!
Yeah,
Speaking about that, we watched Ex Machina the other day.
I
Like,
love
quite
that
recently.
film.
Do you know, I've never seen that.
That is an
Oh,
amazing
it's
film.
terrifying. It's
Yeah.
really scary. It's about AI. It's
Is
really good though, right?
because it's all about
Really
the Turing test, which is can a human be fooled by AI into believing it is a human?
Well-
So it's all about that.
Well, yes, that's actually what's happening now, isn't it, with this chat?
GPT, I think it's
GPT?
called. I think it's called that. Chat GPT.
It gets to a point where you watch a video, like a small reel. Like let's talk about the Biden one with the ass.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Very
deep
difficult
fake.
to like deep fake and all that. Like 20 years in the future, there could be people walking around with like masks on that are like
Yeah.
so good, and it's like maybe they're robots, maybe they're not. Like
Same voice.
it is terrifying.
I saw probably another reel where there was this young student, obviously like a really clever guy, and he'd developed some software. And he'd won some award, and what the software was determining whether it was a deep fake. So there's already people out there making, I don't understand it, making like software and things to test if something is a deep fake or not.
Think of the crime that could be committed with all
Hackers
this.
and all that, yeah.
Take a video
Voice
of
recognition and
yeah. Take a video of a theft, something as simple as a theft where the person is cut and dry, and then you get hold of that video and you can deep fake someone's face on it.
yeah,
It's like, you did it. I wasn't there. You were. You're there.
you're there.
That's you.
Or, like 24 hours in police custody, it seems really hard to nail someone on something. And I feel like it's going to be more difficult to
gonna be way
nail
more
them.
difficult.
Because they even used to say, that's not me. And then the onus was on the police to try and prove like
Yeah.
the coat and the lighting and all that stuff. No, that was you. And it's probably going to get worse because
They-
they could go, you've made that video.
So they even
Yeah.
did.
And then you'd be like,
Yeah.
well, no,
Yeah.
we haven't. It's real, legit CCTV. And then, I don't know.
prove that's real legit CCTV. If that question's asked, what happens?
But that's where that young kid software comes in.
Oh.
Apparently, really clever software, and then apparently they can tell if it's real or not.
Do you remember the last episode of 24 Hours Police Custody? That horrible stabbing
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
in the
Yes.
Oh, what's
it
the
was
word?
A
Is it called catfishing or honey trap?
Trap.
Yes,
Trap.
I do remember it. Sorry, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there wasn't a bone in my body that didn't believe that what I was seeing on CCTV was not the people that they'd arrested.
Of course, yeah.
I was like, that's absolutely 100%.
Oh,
Yeah,
clear
they
evidence.
they still had to go through the lengths as you mentioned with the coat, didn't they?
That's why I mentioned the
They
code.
had to have the coat, and they were in like was it in KFC, and they were wondering how
Yes.
that looked in the KFC
Yeah.
with the light and stuff. I was like,
This is a really expensive jacket,
Whoa.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a Moncler
That's it.
£1,000 plus thing.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It must be
lengths.
really difficult for the police, without deepfakes, to
Yeah.
try and say that is you on CCTV. And I can only imagine it's just going to muddy the waters even more on that and make it more difficult. But then I guess that's why that kid made up that software and everything. But anyway, I don't know. I just find AI
where's it gonna
fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's absolutely.
where's it going to be in
Oh.
50 years? Where's it
Oh,
going to be
50
when
years.
your children are
Less.
30, 40?
10 years, I
What's
think.
it-
Where's it going to be in
oh.
10 years?
I really don't know. I really don't know. It's just moving at such a pace
Yeah.
Yeah.
that, like, think how far it's gone in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about school.
Well,
think
we
about
were
the
in school
internet.
playing snakes on the Nokia, and look at it now. It knows everything about us
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's listening all the time.
all the time.
Or maps, even if you just think about maps, where like,
It
you
can
know when
track
you had
where you've
Snake,
been.
you don't know where the hell you were. Whereas now, you could go on like a hike or something, obviously like really useful for that. But I just mean like, it's just crazy what you can do with that. And even when you go to the airport, your airline tickets are on there, your train line tickets are on there, your
Gig.
your
Your
life,
money.
your
Your
life
pay, your
is
money,
on
everything.
there.
Yeah.
Your world and your life is on that. It's just quite
And how many people can see that?
scary, isn't it? You know.
And what's the reason for them looking at it?
It's
As
control.
well,
It's got to be. It's just data and control, isn't it? I don't know.
Oh,
the
talk
real.
to me about this new emergency
Yeah, I heard that on the radio actually.
I didn't get
people
anything.
talking about
You
it.
didn't get one?
No.
Weirdly, saying that, me and Dave were abroad. So maybe that, and
okay.
because we were abroad, our phones would have known we were not in the UK,
So
and maybe
it wouldn't have-
that's why we didn't get the message.
What was the purpose for it, though? What was the test
It was a
for?
test. So I don't know if you know this, but in America, I don't know how long ago it started, but I think I was watching a program, and it happened on the program. Anyway, if there's a local kidnapping, so say there's a kidnapping in Aberystwyth,
Okay.
Aberystwyth and possible Ceredigion will all get an alert saying there's been a kidnapping, and you look out for this person. Da, 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 da. So they were testing that, but I guess it could range from a world-ending situation,
I was thinking of
tsunami,
nuclear.
an earthquake,
Yeah.
nuclear,
That's what I said,
which is
just-
terrifying to think
Yep.
based on what's happening right now.
Yep.
You know what, though? Loads of other, because I heard this news article thing on Radio 2 and I was listening to it when I was driving. Apparently a lot of different countries already use this, including European countries. And a caller rang up saying, oh yeah, we've had this for 3 years in, I can't remember the country. And they were like, could be anything, like there's a bear on the loose.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, and this person who rang up was saying, yeah, it's fine, it's quite good. It'll tell you if there's like a hurricane going to hit your local
so-
area or a whatever, like natural disasters and
Most,
don't know.
I didn't know it was happening because I don't watch the news, but
Yeah.
people that informed me that this was going to happen were all very against it.
I think there's some people who are thinking, okay, and then I guess there's other people
Yeah,
thinking,
I guess we've
control element.
I've gotten to 40, and I've never been in a situation where the world's ending. I guess
We're in rural Wales.
I know, we're in the middle of
It
rural
feels
Wales.
like it's less important for us. Like, say you lived in
London.
God, I don't know, southern states of America, and there was a tornado coming. You might want to know,
Oh, man.
but in Wales, like, what are they really going to text you that you're going to be like, oh
Sheep on the
man,
loose.
like the spa's closed at 10. I'm like, like, what are they going to tell
It's like,
me?
I know what time it
What are they
is.
going to tell me that I'm going to be like, holy hell?
Yeah.
So I was driving back from Coed Brennan. I'd just been mountain biking with Rach, and it got to like 2 minutes to 3, and I think just before I'm coming down the Tallantllyn Pass, right, and there's a car in front of me, and then in front of that car was a Mansell Davis lorry, the classic, and as soon as 3 o'clock hit, because I'm playing music through my speakers, it all came out the speakers.
Whoa.
I was like, whoa, oh yeah, it's the thing.
What, this the alert,
The alert thing. But the car in front almost hit the wall.
No way.
Yeah.
So
Because of the alert.
Well, it was definitely because of the
Yeah,
alert.
same time, like
It was
bang on.
exactly the same time.
What did the alert
Well,
say?
Did you see that? I couldn't look. I don't know. I
Oh,
was
you
driving.
mean
I had no
it
idea.
was like a noise notification
went
that came out your speakers,
like
and then
dead
it
noise.
said something
That's
on the
really
text
dangerous,
message.
actually, because if someone's listening to their music,
they
they're
almost
really
crashed in front of me.
loud.
Like literally almost crashed.
Yeah. It would shock
The
you,
car
wouldn't it?
swerved like that. I was like-
And did it just say this is a test or something?
As Rach picked it up to look at it, I saw a big triangle which had an exclamation mark in it. You know, the emergency sign. I was just like, "Is that the emergency thing?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "What does it say?" She goes, "It's gone." I was like, "Oh, that was great."
No way.
Yeah, so it was very quick. I think it
Okay.
was 30 seconds it came up. But then you talk to other people and you hear various snippets of the news, and apparently 10 million people didn't even get it. So it didn't quite work as
Didn't
well.
quite work.
I
But
do.
they've
I get
got
both
all our
sides of it, really.
phones.
I get both sides.
All our
'cause, like,
numbers.
you imagine
networks.
they hit you with loads and loads of messages, like could be anything, like right, hosepipe ban today, you know, okay. They're like, right, curfew now because of so and so, and then they hit me. Eventually, I'm in Big Brother here. Is it like what's
Yeah.
going on? They're trying to control me with my phone. I think that's maybe what some people are worried about. They're going like, why are the government telling me what to do with these alerts or something? But I don't know.
So related slightly to that is something which I don't know if you're aware of, but I wasn't aware of it until yesterday. So, God, where do I start? We've had the coronation yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday, sorry.
Yeah. So the coronation of King Charles VIII,
Third.
whatever the hell he is.
Yeah.
Did you know that the right to protest has now been taken away from us as British citizens?
Right to protest. As in, like, you can't protest about anything.
Yeah, peaceful protests are illegal now.
I
Did you
absolutely did not know that. I know they were trying to ban, like picket lining for, can't think of the right word it now, striking, etc. I knew they were trying to change the law So it would be almost impossible for you to strike. So obviously there's NHS strikes, teacher strikes going on that. I knew the government were going to try and make it almost impossible for you to strike. And then you think that's really dangerous as well, because if you're on a job and you don't like it and you can't strike, you feel like maybe a little bit powerless. You're like, well, if I want better conditions, I just go to my union, but you can't do anything extreme to try and change it.
What's the purpose of that then? What's the
well, because there was going to be so many protests to do with the king
because of
Because
coronation,
it's all taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
who did all this.
57 mil,
yeah,
or whatever
so
it was.
You couldn't protest in any way. You couldn't even light a candle and say like, "I'm anti this."
You know, I definitely didn't know that.
No,
it seemed like I didn't know.
You're allowed an opinion though.
Well,
you know what I mean.
I thought it was almost a human right that you're allowed to protest something you don't agree with.
Well, I agree with
especially
protesting
peacefully
and
course,
striking
yeah.
and anything else that you want to do.
What's the difference between just saying I don't agree with you or having a sign that says I don't agree with you?
So who passed that? The Tories?
Yeah, it was passed. Yeah,
I'm just wondering. I think off the top of my head, yeah. I'm just wondering. You know these climate change protesters who like stick their hands to like.
Oh, there's one in the snooker. Remember that? The one with the snooker?
Yeah, with the orange.
They were like gluing themselves to roads and stuff. Technically, that is a peaceful protest, I guess.
Well, they're not hurting anyone.
Not hurting
So
anybody.
they're causing havoc.
Absolute havoc.
Oh my god! Like people trying to
That's
get
the
to
point,
work.
though.
I get it.
It's to cause disruption, isn't it?
It is.
You know what?
It annoys a hell of a lot of people.
I'd
But
be
the thing is, climate
fuming.
change is bad as well, obviously.
No, I know. If I was, I definitely see both sides of the story. If I was trying to get to work, I just know the way I am. I'd be fuming. I'd be one of those people. I'm just being honest. I'd be one of those people who are driving up, going, "I'm gonna have to tell my work now why I'm late," or maybe you're on an emergency call and you have to get somewhere.
Emergency calls.
And you're like,
there we go.
"What on earth?" Like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. The future's important and climate change is important stuff, but I sympathise with these people getting out their vans going, I really need to go to work.
What's your thoughts on like an emergency service not being able to get through there, man?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, yeah, surely.
Yeah.
But why are they protesting?
This is the
I
thing.
get it.
It's a
And
double-edged
also,
sword.
I think anybody should be able to protest. But when you're stopping emergency services, I'm just kind of thinking like, I don't know about this. I don't know. Then it gets like, you know what I mean?
So I've been with a wonderful group of people this weekend because we did this weird Arboretum show, and one of the people I spoke to about protesting was a French lady, right?
Well, they love the protest.
They've been protesting for like her entire life.
Really?
Yeah,
For
all
what?
over. Oh,
Oil prices.
the grass is too green. Like
Yeah.
she literally said they don't know how to cook eggs in that restaurant. They will protest. Like it's crazy, but. We're so narrow-minded in Britain. We just want everything to be quiet and how is this government even in power? Like, I know maybe we should do an episode, but and I may have even like skimmed very quickly over that protest law. I might not have got the facts absolutely right, but it affected us because I've played a riot police officer this weekend, and I was with a group of people. And the plan was that we were supposed to come out of a riot van that the Powys police were going to lend to us with a driver, and that got changed last minute because of this protest law. They didn't want the police van to be there because it would have looked like a protest was happening and we were going to actually stop it, and it may have had bigger ramifications than.
Yeah.
So in order of safety, it was decided not to do it. So. So it affected us in Aberystwyth on the beach doing a small performance.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's really interesting.
Yeah, but no, I definitely agree with people's right to protest. I wouldn't want to take that away from people. Do you know what I mean? Definitely not.
I've only ever wanted to protest properly. I really got angry, really badly. Like I was going to lose my shit. I was like, this is so stupid. And the British taxpayer is going to pay for it, is when HS2 got announced.
Oh yeah, the train line
that was going to shave
Tell
like
me
8 minutes.
Yeah,
off
how much
fucking
quicker?
train journey.
Unbelievable amount.
And they were going to cut down one of the oldest trees in Britain.
I mean, not only that, they
Just
were
to make
plowing through
way for
people's
it?
like businesses. They're ploughing through warehouses. They're ploughing through people's fields.
It must have just been one big money-making line in your mate's pockets kind of deal, right?
Like, as in big time.
I know it's halted at the moment, but like it's happened.
Like it got passed through, or however you want to.
Well, they started doing it. They started building.
Is that true? Is it 8 minutes?
8 minutes shaved off the time from London to Birmingham.
It's actually really quick. London to Birmingham. I've been on that Virgin train. It's lovely.
Yeah,
it's like I'm not saying it's a bullet train.
No, it's not exactly slow, is it?
No, it's really. Honestly, try the old Arriva old school ones, and then you get to Birmingham. I mean, like this is lush going on the Virgin one down.
Yeah,
when you get to Shrewsbury, you got to get the front two carriages.
It does seem like
that, and I think coming out of here we go, drop the C-bomb here, but COVID, all the stuff that's coming out of it was jobs for the boys, and like they were looking after their mates. That's the way it feels. Not to go down the conservative route and all that sort of thing, because it is a dangerous game. We start talking about politics or religion and all that sort of thing, but mate, it's got that feel again. It really has. That they're just looking after each other and they're just handing money out and getting little backhanders and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, my mate's got a company who makes test tubes.
Yeah.
Get him involved.
Ooh, have you?
He's not the cheapest. Doesn't matter. Get him in.
He went to Eton.
They'll pay. They'll pay, mate. Don't worry about it.
Oh, there's so much of that going on. And you think, like, that stuff goes on the low levels. And then I imagine pretty sure it goes up all through the levels up to the very, very, very top.
So that's a hell of a tangent, boys. Well done.
That was a really good tangent, yeah.
Start with social media. That's
good at tangenting, yes.
And then AI, and then the trains, and then striking, and then protesting, and
what about coming back to our podcast?
Let's go back to it.
Lock it back down.
Yeah. So, we're introducing a guest.
Oh yeah, the first.
Who's
guest.
the first guest?
Lee
Coulson.
It was Lee Coulson,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
A wonderful basketball coach.
Great guest.
And fair play to him. He has helped this podcast immensely, and he's always been like a really big supporter and believer of what we've sort of been doing, and down to the camera and other things recently. What a hero.
What a top guy. He does amazing things for the community. He's just like totally selfless, just puts everyone else in front of himself.
I really hope there's a statue of him one day.
Mate.
I'll make it myself. I will carve it out of wood. He is a legend.
Down by Baravan, by the prom, overlooking it.
Right there.
Yeah.
But no, he was a great first guest, and I remember thinking, I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement with it, that he was kind of always going to be the first guest.
Yeah, we did.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's kind of, it made sense, right?
Yeah, totally. It was very natural to invite him on, and because he helped us. We had the camera off him.
Yeah.
And he was always like, you guys take this to the world stage. You're going to have to be massive.
He was our biggest supporter, to be fair.
He pushed us
brilliant.
Yeah, really.
He's always pushed us in various other ways and stuff. Yeah.
Really supportive. He spoke really well on it as well, and we think we knew that as well, we thought. But again, it was just awesome for him to open up as much as he did, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And he said afterwards that it really helped him, and people have been coming up to him afterwards and things like that. And
every guest, I would say, has said that. Mm-hmm. Every guest. Remember Jamie? Jamie said that. He said that felt, some things I'd never told anyone before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Felt really good to get off his chest. And your brother.
Yeah.
With, that's one of my favourite podcasts we've ever done. I loved that one.
Yeah, that was good. English Channel Swim.
Yeah.
That was really good. But yeah, so Lee was. So who was after Lee?
Nathan. Funny enough, we bumped into him yesterday.
We did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we did.
Nathan Jackson
from
Mental Health Monster.
How's he doing?
He's doing really well.
Yeah.
Good.
Doing really well. He's back from London because things didn't quite pan out. It's like, but he's back here for the summer, so
sweet.
I bump into him a bit more now, and he seems to be doing really well. So that's good.
I just said you could be in worse places in the world for the summer. I particularly, and another episode we did, Aberystwyth episode. I love Aberystwyth in the summer. The summertime in Aberystwyth.
Today was a perfect example of it.
I just love Aber in the summer.
Yeah.
Particularly when like the sea's a little bit warmer. I mean, not even then. Not even like it's just the sun out. Even if you're in your garden and you whatever you're doing, relaxing, playing with your kids, listening to music, whatever.
Yeah.
So good.
Going on a long cycle ride in the sun and then coming back down to Aber for the sea and then going for a dip.
Whatever floats your boat.
No, exactly.
Going on the sups.
Who was the second guest?
Good. The second guest was Gav, wasn't he?
Sorry, and then the third was
Nathan. And then John Butler. Epic Dads.
Have a look.
Am I right in saying that?
Let me have a look at your boys.
I'm just trying to think now. Nathan.
Gavin.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
John Butler after Nathan, yeah.
John Butler was episode 16.
So who was after Nathan?
Yeah, no, we did. No, yeah, we
had-
it was because we went on a bit of a tangent on.
We didn't have a guest.
For quite some
I
time
see what you
then.
mean.
After
I see what you
Gavin.
mean. Yeah, we just did a load of.
Oh no, episode 12 was Mental Health Monster.
Yeah,
And
then
then-
we talked about like being a dad and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
between
yeah.
All those.
Yes, we had faith shows, Christmas, being a dad, in between.
That was a great
Yeah.
I
episode.
loved the being the dad.
Being a dad.
episode.
That was good.
Recommendation from Kim or idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
really
really
good.
That was awesome, that one.
It's good. Give you sort of a bit of an insight, but you get it anyway because you've been around so much. But like
Yeah.
just having that chat about what it's like being a dad.
So I actually,
Yeah.
a little bit of an admission here. Like during our meal yesterday, me and Rach had, we were chatting about, not us, but I guess it was related to us. We were chatting about other people's experiences with children again. And I was just like, look, we know what we're going to do. Can we just talk about something else at this point? And she didn't take it very well. And we had a little bit of a, like walking home, we were just like, I was like, I didn't want to carry on talking about children because we know what we're going to do.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
was just like, it doesn't affect us at this moment in our lives. Let's just look at the sun, this, you know. But she was like, well, I want to talk about it. So we had a little, we walked home having a slightly elevated discussion.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. With
No,
with
it
your
was
partner, no?
it was you know there was no maliciousness and all that sort of stuff. It was just like, but it's one of those conversations where you start at the start of Tannerbulk and before you know it, you're at your front door and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
didn't even see anything. You know,
Yeah.
it was good conversation.
What was in? What she getting broody or is it?
No.
Okay.
I get a bit scared because I'm getting older, and I thought that this is the crux of it. I thought I'd put a date, like an age on myself with her, which was 42. So that's in 2 years.
Mhm.
2 years ago, so that fit into our 5-year plan.
Okay.
And I thought she'd raised it to 8 years and not told me. So I was like, huh? So we had
Got you.
we had a
Okay.
chat about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I tangented again. There we are.
No, it's all good. It was related to the.
Yeah, it was
Being a
related
Dad
to being a
podcast.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, John Butler episode though, I love that.
Oh, it was
He was
wonderful.
brilliant.
Really interesting. I really enjoyed the police element. I think that was probably my favourite sort
Yeah.
of part about that because I do find that sort of fascinating, that job and
Yeah, me
things
too.
to do with it.
Everything that goes with it.
Obviously, does a lot of good for the community as well, and there's lots of really good, positive things about that podcast. But
Yeah.
particularly like hearing about his sort of police days. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the way he just sort of like the way he sort of lives in the moment. The way he described it, I think it was just really, really good, and he spoke so well. It was just.
I
loved
love
it.
what he
It
does
flew.
with the football club. I think
Yeah.
that was my favourite aspect of what he does. I think that's incredible. Because I mean, face value, you look at a football team and there's all fucking lads, and da, 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 da. Some of them don't have the best reputation. They're like even massive celebrity footballers, you know.
they probably have the worst.
There's still one like that's how your cat feels. That's how your cat feels. That guy kicked that cat and he was on video. And we were like,
oh shit.
Yeah. I tell you what,
Yeah, like-
football fans do it.
they're under the radar, you know, under the absolute radar. But say if you do something silly, you can go to your chaplain, who's John Butler, and you know he's going to have all the time in the world for you. And I think that's really important to have.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Going back to the one that when we asked like the "How are you" thing, and like for me personally, that was a real big moment for me before we're hitting the winter. It
Yes.
came at such a good time.
I forgot about that episode.
SAD.
Yeah,
We talked
that
about
episode.
SAD during that one, didn't we?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that episode just totally changed my outlook of that winter, which was looming at that point. I think it must have been like September, October time. It was
Yeah.
like I was already getting that thing of, yeah, nights of drawing.
Here we
in.
go.
Here we go again.
Same.
And it was like Duke's recommendations of, right, start getting some vitamin D tablets into you. I'm not giving any medical advice here. Check,
Almost
make sure
finished
it's all
mine.
like it's okay with you.
I've almost finished mine.
Yeah. And give yourself goals throughout the winter.
Break it up.
Mate, I did that. It's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have it.
really notice it this year.
amazing. It just
It
shows
really
that, like,
was.
I don't know, talking and tips and listening, because
sharing.
I obviously must have implemented that, but subconsciously I didn't think, right, I'm going to do this. I think just slowly I must have been, I don't know, they're horrible, the winters, and I'm not saying they're not horrible, they're horrible, aren't they? But obviously subconsciously I must have just done something, and I was taking the vitamin D's every winter for the last 3 years, or whatever I've been doing it for. And then doing these goals and stuff. And it was weird. I was like, my brain was protecting me, but I wasn't overly aware of it until I spoke about it on the podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, I do kind of protect myself from this by doing this, this, and this.
That's really common, I think, is that we don't know that you're doing something that sort of is helping you until you mention it out loud.
Yep.
Or you don't know something about yourself until you mention it and someone goes, that's a bit off, mate. Or that's on, that's really good. Or
yeah, it is weird. It's like teaching as well. Like weird tangent, but like I've got an apprentice in work, and I've had multiple apprentices through other jobs and things like that. And I felt like teaching somebody, and you're vocalizing it, and you're teaching them. I don't know. It kind of refreshes you. It reminds you. Like, so I think just teaching, doesn't matter what the subject is, or giving someone a tip or talking through something. I don't know. It helps you as the teacher. I don't know,
well, they're looking to you for guidance, and I guess how the natural progression is supposed to be is like you get to the end of your career and they're right behind you and they've taken your torch, you know, or their aim is to snip at your heels until they overtake you.
Yeah,
you're just trying to give them your wisdom, isn't it?
Your sous chef is right behind you and you're like, oh my god, I need to be better than this guy. Excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me
I think I'm getting ill.
COVID maybe, I don't know.
Well, it's still going around a little bit.
That is officially, I'm going to mess up the terminology now. I got a Guardian app, which is a news app, isn't it? And it came up 2 days ago, and it said COVID-19 is officially not a global emergency anymore, and that was by WHO.
Wow.
Oh, who is
the World Health Organization?
Yeah.
And they have officially said it is not a world emergency.
To the next one then.
Yep.
Well, that's a good thing. So I'm not just looking at my
that's
phone,
a really good
going
thing.
through reels or anything like that. I'm just
bored,
checking out.
bored, mate.
No. I'm looking at where we are with like the timelines and stuff. Mate, have you got any? What are we?
Right. So my least favorite episode, because I'm quite embarrassed about it, was how I was on the podcast, which was the money episode.
Oh, okay.
I think I found out. So I'd made a plan that day because we weren't going to talk about money. We were going to talk about something much less poignant, and I can't remember what we were actually going to talk about.
You know what? This does ring a bell, and we might have.
It switched last minute, and I'd already planned.
I'd already
planned. That does ring a bell, though.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it was going to be.
So I remember we had a chat afterwards, and it was like, right, let's not go to the pub before we come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I'd already planned my day, and I should have just not drunk beer at the pub, but I did, and I feel really embarrassed about that episode. I watched it recently, and I was just like, oh my god, that's so cringy. I was just swearing and like anti this and anti that, and I wasn't quite getting my points across. It was just being a bit leery, I guess. Yeah.
Fair play to you for like rewatching it and looking at yourself and critique.
I haven't watched or listened to that one for a long time.
No, and it's quite hard to critique yourself be honest.
It's not.
Isn't it?
It's a personal thing. It's maybe my personal paranoia or my personal. I hate watching myself or hearing myself talk.
Yeah.
Perfect to do a video and an audio podcast.
Yeah.
I know. I want other people. I want other.
Joking,
I want to be able to tell other people that this is me and I think it's good to talk and all that stuff.
No, I agree.
I can't even. When I do the tannoys at work, so I speak over the system and say like, good evening everyone. Please, this is your 5-minute call for the cinema or the theatre or whatever. I have to shut the door so I can't hear my voice in the microphone.
Really?
Coming out the speakers because I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
No way. I think I did used to feel like that way, and I think it's a very common thing to feel.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at yourself being videoed, and you don't want to hear your voice and things like that. But you spoke about this on the podcast as well. I think just sort of with age, maybe not everyone, but like, because I was not confident at all in school, and I spoke about that a little bit. Like, say my idea of hell would be going up and speaking in front of about 5 to 8 people. Like I'd hate that, and I'd visibly be shaking when I got asked to speak in front of assembly, and I spoke about that on a previous podcast and things like that. But don't know what's happened since I've got older, but I've got slowly more and more confident with lots of different
It's doing it.
things
It's
in my life.
repetition, isn't it? I think.
But I used to be very, very nervous when I was younger. Very so.
I think that's obviously experience, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like doing the situation over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with age as well, I think I've just accepted that. Something, you just don't really care what people think anymore.
That's another thing.
No,
I
I'm
cared
not
far
bothered
too much.
anymore.
You're right.
I'm really
that's a
not
big
that
one.
fussed, and it's helped me loads, like going into meetings and things. Whereas before, maybe I'd be thinking, oh, I should really bring this thing up. Oh, I can't. Oh, should I bring it up? Oh, I can't. And by the time the moment's gone.
It's gone, yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? Ask. The question's out, gone.
Yeah, good.
And it's just like, well, you've got to get your point across. You've got your own opinion, and not that I don't care what people think about me. Of course I do, but it's better to have your own opinion and just be confident.
I
with it.
don't
And think
live-
that's good to have that because of the age.
I don't live by everybody else's approval. But I respect that I'm putting out myself. I'm putting
Yeah.
myself out there for sure. But like I don't. I do care how other people see me, but it doesn't govern my life. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to look at it. And I agree with Dave. I think when I was younger, I was a lot less confident. And I think I cared way, way, way more what people thought of me, say, in school and stuff. And I think that's probably very common for
I think
people in
that's
school.
growing up, man. I
Yeah,
think
as in like I was very conscious of what other people maybe thought of you in those school days and things like
Oh,
that.
definitely.
But I think it's loads of things, like hormones all over the
Well,
place, growing
like,
up. And
you
I
don't
know,
want
loads
to
of
be
mad
walking
stuff.
down the corridor and like you see someone and you're like, he's going to just give me shit because my hair's long or something like that.
This is it. Yeah.
You don't want that.
A lot of
you
peer
try and
pressures
fit
when
in-
you're
so you
growing
try and
up
fit in
and,
with everybody, don't you?
Yeah,
So
but
hard
no,
to know, hard to know where you are and where your direction's
Of course-
going and
of course
things,
it is.
isn't it?
yeah,
Where
but no,
you
you
fit in and-
can't please everybody. I think that's a really, really good thing to live by, isn't it? You cannot please everybody.
It's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
So you may as well just be true to who you are, and then hopefully,
And you can't know everything.
no.
I love
There's
that.
not
It's
enough
just like,
time.
There's not enough time, and
Yeah.
that's why like people in these big positions have got people around them. They're there for a reason, aren't they?
Experts.
Well, exactly.
In their field.
Yeah,
Jack of all trades.
yeah. They're there for a reason.
Master of none.
Master
That's what
of
you can be, and then you can ask your, we follow the science. That's where we're going. We're following the science. Back to COVID. Sorry.
But it's like there are human beings out there that are masters of, say, the guitar.
Yeah,
Now, I started playing guitar. I can relate to a guitar, but I don't have the patience. So I've failed in that respect. I've not
yeah.
taken
Me
it
too.
to that level.
Terrible.
in
on the
what
guitar.
level,
Like
though?
Joe Satriani or
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
what you personally?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are people that can have that focus of complete immersion in just the guitar.
You were so much better than me, though. I think
yeah, that's
cruise
what I
on
mean.
stages like I was tabs, isn't it? I really, really
Tab
basic
universe.
tabs. Crazy Train, I learned Ozzy Osbourne, and it was like really slow and stuff like that. But you were way better
yeah.
than me on guitar. And I think
But-
there's me and you and everything in between.
But
as
I
well,
was
isn't
never
there?
satisfied with my level.
I certainly wasn't with
I
mine
don't have the
either."
I don't have the patience to carry on. I want to be
No.
outside or.
Mate,
It's
your air
hours, it
guitar
takes
is
hours.
out of this world.
The air guitar is still there. I
Yeah,
don't
you got
think
a
I'll ever
solid,
leave. I always
solid.
carry it with me.
You should really go and
I hear
do one of
November
those-
Rain. Look out!
do one of those competitions.
Oh, I think
World champs.
if there's one at Download, I'll enter. But I
Do it.
don't know. I got put off because someone told me this is back when the Bay was still going, and someone told me I should definitely enter one. So I genuinely looked at entering, but I saw photos from previous ones, and people dress up and have like fireworks on their back, and I was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't.
Big show of it.
I just want to show them how good I am on the guitar. I don't want to make like a thing out of it. Just, yeah. Anyway,
Go with
it
the
wasn't
theatre a
even a
little
real
bit,
guitar.
Put a can of hairspray in your hair with some real tight jeans. Bit of hair metal.
Goodness me. Goodness me. No. Good fun.
We veered off again. What?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. You know what? You're right. Yeah. The money episode. I kind of half forgotten about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I can't remember what subject we were going to do before that, but it was.
You know what,
We
it-
changed it last minute to money.
We switched.
It rings a bell. It does ring a bell. But yeah, does anybody else want to highlight any points, whether it be with a guest or not with a guest, or any like sort of like high moments throughout the 21 episodes?
I just I think the crutch of it all is, I think, from what I've learned, is that even with the guests that we've had on and just us talking together, is that everyone's got stuff going on, right? And that's natural.
Totally.
You're not on your own. And the best way is that you've got to talk about this stuff because there's help out there. Even if it's your mate, your partner, whoever it is, it's there. And it's so much better just to talk about these things because I guarantee you there's loads of people going through exactly the same thing. But at the time you think you're on your own, but you're not. Yeah. It's really important to remember that.
And no one's got the balls, let's call it that, to sort of break the ice first. So there might be like 10 guys all having a beer at the pub and they work in whatever, construction. It just might take one strong person in that group of mates to go, I'm really struggling here and I'm having a bad time with whatever. And then it might take that one person and then it sort of starts to happen. You know?
Yeah, I've heard it recently. I'm not going to bring it up, but it was before I got to this place. And it was exactly that situation. It was someone saying, do you know what? I'm actually struggling a little bit. The other person piped up. He goes, I'm glad you said that because I feel exactly the same. Exactly that scenario.
Wonderful.
So then they talk about it.
Yeah. And then one of them might help the other. In
like, fuck, you're going through exactly the same thing. Or yeah. So that's one thing I can certainly take from all this, is that we've learned that everyone's got stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's way better to talk
and
about it.
Definitely, I remember me and Dave having a little moment of that when both of our youngest children, so we both had 2 kids at the time, and youngest, so Isla and Maggie would have been like pretty young. I remember I was talking to Dave about something where like I was getting like really stressed in the morning trying to get them both ready or something like that, like a classic situation where and then I was just like and I was getting angry and then I feel guilty then and bad. I'm not saying I'm massively taken out of them, but I'm just generally getting angry and stressed in the situation. And then I talk to Dave about it, and then Dave's like going, "Oh my god, yeah, me too." Is in like, you know, but
so
even
true.
Like it feels like even a few years ago, people might even not have been so honest about a situation like that, and they'd be like, "Oh, how's everything going?" Yeah, absolutely amazing. Everything's going really good. When in reality, about 37 minutes prior, you're like pulling your hair out trying to get a pair of shoes on or something. This kid, whatever.
It's true. Yeah.
It's true though, isn't it? Like, and I know that's like a really small thing to highlight or whatever, but it happens, isn't it? And all through the stages.
I don't think that's a small thing because that could be every day of school term time.
It's stressful getting 2 kids ready for school, mate. I'm not going to lie.
That's not small.
It's stressful.
but I think honesty is key, though, I think, in these situations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why sugarcoat it? Because when people ask me about parenting, I'm like, it's flipping hard. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Every parent I've spoken to.
You know, it's bloody knackering, but it's amazing as well. You know, so it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie about it. If my kid's not sleeping, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah. And I'm not going to say, he sleeps 12, 14 hours a night, you know, when he's just been born. It wasn't the truth.
No.
You know, so...
I think people do that in a lot of different areas of life, though, don't they? It's a good term, isn't it? People do tend to sugarcoat things, whether it's your life on social media, something about your children, maybe how you and your partner are getting on. Oh, yeah, like never argue, or like totally all true. These sort of things in life. And people do tend to sugarcoat things, don't they? And if everyone's a little bit more honest, you know, because you could say one thing, everything's absolutely fine. Then you might look at your life going, oh, God, well, you know, get a bit stressed with the kids, or like, you know, they weren't sleeping last night, or be like, oh, I had a little mini Barney with the missus. And then you might like, all right, but everyone else got this perfect life. They don't. Like, do you know
what is a perfect life?
No, I know. Yeah, I'm just like saying. I think people could do with being a bit more honest sometimes.
I think
it's a ridiculous utopian thing that we're not ever going to achieve. Life is perfect anyway. It's you're alive. You're going through it. You know.
Yeah. You know, I love it. It's Robin Williams quote from what's that movie? Robin Williams movie when he's the shrink.
Oh, Matt Damon.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. And he goes, I got news for you, sport. He goes, you're not perfect, and neither's she. but it's whether you're perfect for each other sort of thing. And that sort of sums it up, doesn't it?
They talk about the farts, didn't they? Oh, that was the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff.
That's a heck of a film. If you want to see
Oh,
that.
I love that.
You know what? We talked about films, and someone actually put it in the comment section on our
Google
Facebook,
hunting.
you know, and I was like, yeah, that is weird. That is definitely in my top 10. I love that movie. I
it's a
must
heck
have
of a
seen it
film.
like close to 10 times, and like, I love that film. Really, really good movie.
I don't know why it's popped in my head, and it's nothing but we haven't discussed it previously or anything like that. But you know, we're just talking about relationships and sugarcoating and things. And a couple of scenarios popped in my head. Then we've talked about it previously before. You know, when you have an argument with your partner, you do,
Certainly happens.
right? Everyone does.
No one does not.
Okay, let's picture this then. We've all been in this situation, and we've talked about it. You're on the way somewhere with your partner. You have a massive Barney in a car, and you've got to go and see a load of people, and you've got to act normal.
Nightmare.
Come on, we've all been in that situation,
Yeah,
right?
it's a classic, isn't it? Yeah, but you know what would be refreshing? You get to the function and go, we've had a hell of a Barney, but hopefully we'll sort out later. How are you doing, you kids? maybe a little bit more honesty.
There's two of you in
Yeah.
this Barney. It's not just one of you. You're not like the knight going in, going, I just took that and I'm going to be fine. Like, she's doing that too.
Yeah.
But maybe
maybe that's a really good way to do it. Just get out the car and be like, look,
Yeah.
fucking high five quick, because we'll go back to that.
Let's
but
park
let's
this.
just be a couple.
yeah, exactly. Everything fine, like really gritting your teeth. It's fine, absolutely fine.
Or you walk in, you leave one of them in you leave her in the lounge, you go straight into the kitchen. You're like, all right, yeah, boys.
The other one is exactly the same scenario. You're having a Barney in a car, and like your song comes on the radio. Really awkward. You're like, oh, this should be a really loving moment now, but it's really not.
Yeah. This hasn't aged well, is it? This song? This hasn't aged well at all.
Let's just fast forward this bit.
So that a bit different for me. My volume is on max as soon as we get in the car. Like I'll say in the
That
car,
does
and
not
it's
surprise me,
literally-
Med.
So
doesn't surprise me.
when there's a Barney escalating, I love that term Barney. Where the hell did that come
I don't
from?
know. Actually,
He's Barney.
Barney
Yeah.
Rubble. He's Barney.
He's
going on
Barney, yeah? The bastard.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah. As soon as I hear the volume start going down, that's when I'm like, oh, this is getting serious now. Okay.
What, because Rach is turning it
Rich
down?
is like that. Huh? Like shit.
Sometimes
Okay,
I turn the volume down to see better when I'm trying to park or something, or when I'm trying to concentrate
what is
a little
that?
bit more. So I'm like, hang on, if I lower the volume now, I'm more aware.
I do that. My brother called me out on it ages ago. He goes,
I
does
do
that make
it,
you feel better? And I was like, what? I didn't realise I was doing
I do it
it.
in cities.
I do it all the time.
every time in cities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if I'm
can't
coming
concentrate.
into Birmingham like that, sat nav up, vol down,
Focus.
laser beam focus.
Yeah.
Like a dad at the airport with a bum bag, all the passports in there, he's ready to rock. You know what I mean? Laser beam focus, power walking.
nothing wrong with
the
that.
whole family
There's
are 10
nothing wrong with
meters
that.
back,
Hey.
trying to keep up.
If it's a flip between you still having your volume and I don't know, looking cool or listening to the sweet track or whatever, and crashing or going down the wrong avenue and ended up in a different lane or whatever,
Home Alone style.
turn it down.
I think it's just, I think it's a concentration thing for me. I think I like find it hard, like if there's loads of things going on at once and then the music's really loud, it just doesn't help me. So I'm kind of like,
I've even taken it one step further because I get a genuine sweat on when I come into a big city like Manchester,
Yeah.
Birmingham, whatever. I actually wind the window down as well, rain or shine. I want to listen to the street and listen to the cars and stuff.
Feel the city.
So
Yeah.
Me and Rach call it listen to the block. I go, shh, I'm going to listen to the block now. And I'm like, okay, Satnav's there, yeah. And I can hear cars, I can hear buses, I can hear the pedestrians, I can hear people talking. I just feel like, cool, I'm safe now.
Yeah.
If I was still listening to like Pantera really loud, like coming into, I'd be like, oh God, I'm so
you
stressed
just
out. I'm
miss
so
everything,
stressed
like-
out.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
yeah.
talking about cities and stuff, right? I'm not too bad as long as I'm listening to my sat nav and stuff. Sometimes I get the old road rage coming into a city. Don't get me wrong, because you don't
We're
know
not
what's
from
going on.
the city.
But I tell you what, I've been to Birmingham twice recently, and I was absolutely fuming. Right, the first time I went to Birmingham recently, a couple of years ago, right, I must have veered into a bus lane, right, fuming. Caught me on the CCTV.
All the way on the left.
They billed me, they messaged me going, you were in the bus lane, 60 quid or whatever, fuming, right? Looking online forums, can I fight this? No, don't fight it, pay it, fuming. Anyway, right, okay, so I paid that one. And then I went recently, clean air charge. Didn't even see the sign, mate.
I want to talk about the clean air charge.
Didn't even see the sign, right? And I was in my old Tiguan, not a V8. Well, you know, I'm like
Not a Camaro.
It's not burning a hole in the ozone layer when I'm going in Birmingham,
Just
right?
touching it.
And fuming.
Dude, I'm in a Blue Motion, like, green leaf car, right? And I got done in Bristol and Birmingham.
Oh, so you've also had a clean air charge.
And so I think it was Birmingham first. No, it was Bristol first, and they sent they send you a picture of your car with your license plate. You can't deny it. Can't deny it at all. I saw the signs, but I thought my car's fine. You know, I pay like £5 a year tax.
Yeah, you got the 20 quid really tax thing.
Yeah, but I still got stung. So I was like, okay, tried to fight it. Same as you, realised there's no point. Paid it.
Yeah, me too.
But then I went to Birmingham, and truthfully, I would tell you, I thought that I'd paid for 24 hours.
Yeah, slot.
So I was like, I'm not getting stung this time. No, as soon as I got to the hotel, I went online, paid it, and we got to the hotel at about 1 o'clock. So I paid for 24 hours because we were going to check out at 11 o'clock the next day, and I was out of Birmingham definitely by 11:30. I still got stung because the 24 hours for them isn't 24 hours of a clock. It's from midnight to midnight. So I didn't pay for the next day.
So you paid for one day, but not 2 days. Right, but you still got stung.
Yes, I had to pay. I even fought it, and they explained it to me like very passively aggressive, like,
you know, if you're
sorry, sir, you didn't read the small.
I get these calls all the time.
If you're from the city, I imagine, you can imagine I have less sympathy or whatever. But you're not from Birmingham.
Manchester hasn't got it. Manchester hasn't got it.
No, not every city has it, apparently. But Bristol, someone told me recently that Bristol was added. But
yeah, Bristol's got it.
We're pretty sheltered. That's the problem, isn't it? We don't get all this stuff around our, but we're just not used to it at all.
Or like the just general charge of going to London, or I don't know. Anyway, I digress. I was like veering off into like the charges.
No, it's issues. It's issues.
Fuming.
Yeah, and it adds to the stress of. As soon as you've got to the hotel, so you've done all that little bit of stressful driving, you get to the hotel or wherever you're going in Birmingham or whatever city, and then you're like, oh, right, I've just got to pay for this fucking thing now as well. And then the app doesn't work, your 4G doesn't work, and you're like, oh my God, just kill me, just end me right now. I just can't be asked to do this.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just pay the 60 quid later.
Yeah, and then that goes back to a little bit of like stress. Sometimes those times when you go travelling or you go to a city or something like that, and then you've got a couple of those bits on top and you live it. That's if you
couple of kids in the back.
Oh, to add to it.
Just to add to it.
Yeah. Just to heighten that a little bit more.
Pretty much a breaking point. When I took the kids to Alton Towers, couldn't find the hotel afterwards on the sat nav, and it was just taking us to, I don't know where the hell it was taking us, and it was a long day.
Yeah.
Kids were hungry, tired.
Alton Towers.
Yeah, it was just like...
Your eye was twitching.
You know that scene in Me, Myself and Irene when Jim Carrey's at the till and he's like, oh, he's turning. He's going.
When that woman skips the queue on him, pretending she's got one item, but then a kid comes up with a whole trolley.
Yeah, that.
The music starts
I love that film.
Just got like nothing left. It's like, just get us to this hotel. Yeah.
You can taste the stress in your mouth.
Tastes like blood. Tastes like blood frothing.
Oh, gosh, so bad.
Maybe we should do a stress-related episode that's completely, because it's quite. I feel like we've beaten a lot of different stresses by going through them, and definitely we're talking about them. But like, it'd be really funny to go through some old stresses that we were just like, that doesn't matter anymore.
There's definitely ways to, like I guess when you get older, you realise how stressful some situations are for you. And then you try and put things in place to minimise them, don't you?
Definitely.
So kids is an obvious one, like where, I don't know, you're not going to fly at 2 a.m. in the morning on a fly, or I don't know, just little changes that you might make because you're like, that's going to be a nightmare. That's going to be a nightmare.
Pay a bit extra to make things a bit easier.
Yeah, parking in the airport when you go, if someone can meet me, they maybe park the car for me. Cost 20 quid more, but I'm going to be with a family, and little
quicker, easier.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of money.
Easier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. If you've cooked a roast chicken and you got the carcass still, and you know that's going to start smelling, chuck it in the fridge because it'll last a little bit longer.
What, for your bone broth?
Yeah, because
bone broth boy.
For your bone broth boy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing worse than in the kitchen. You got a smell, and you're going, what's that? And the bin's on until like another week, and you're like, oh man,
Yeah, or freezer if you've got the space.
Oh, hey, even better.
We're full of tips tonight, boys.
But yeah, stress, good one for a future episode, maybe.
I'd love to do a stress one because I think we've all had different stresses in our lives, and how we cope to it. You look back,
and we've asked every guest pretty much about the different related stresses and how they've dealt with it.
Yeah. We could talk all night about all the stuff that we've. What have you taken from us sitting down here chatting, man?
I just feel really I feel like really just like friendly with you. Like I feel like you're my boys, and that'll never change. And I've got no, what you see is me. That's it. I'm never going to be different. I'll tell you. I know that it's taken possibly this podcast to open up about my body thing, and definitely recently this alcohol thing. But I will always do that.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll tell you absolutely
it's amazing,
everything.
Isn't it? I think we're all better at being a little bit more honest with ourselves and each other, and maybe other people, partners, and all that stuff.
And just it's scary to say these things, but it's also I just said as soon as I said it, I feel great.
Yeah,
I literally feel high.
Well, you said you had a little bit of a weight off your shoulders talking about alcohol and God rest him.
Yeah, and I've had a weird day. I've had a very weird day. My bike broke, and I just had a really weird day. And I knew I was going to talk about this stuff tonight, and it was just it was sort of weighing on me. It was niggling at my ear, and I was just done it now. It feels great.
That's good.
And it's immortalised in the podcast.
That's good. What about you, Dukes? How do you feel after this 31 hours of, probably 32 now? 32 and a half.
Yeah, it's similar. Early on in the podcast, I was speaking to someone recently, actually, a work colleague, about this, and I used to get really upset and angry talking about my dad, and now I feel like I could talk about him pretty easily and pretty freely with other people who maybe have lost a parent as well, or something like that. When you're talking to somebody about it, and then I just feel I'm a lot more open and direct with people. So, say a work colleague or somebody else. Say if I can see maybe they're giving me hints that they want to unload something or they want to talk about something, I'm a lot more honest, and I'll say to them, say for instance or something, and I'll be or I'll start opening up myself, knowing that they're more likely to do it then, to give them. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I've got the ability to give a lot more patience. Whereas I think before I used to just be I can't be bothered to talk about this right now. But now I'll be even if I finish work and someone catches me on the way out of work and I'm I just want to go home, I'll still spend that 5, 6, 10 minutes, whatever it is, on the way. Even my car keys just swinging in my hand. I'll have that little chat.
That's really important.
Yeah, you know what? Something happened to me recently, actually, and I had a similar situation. I won't go into it, but it was that sort of scenario. And I was more than willing to have a lengthy conversation with this person. But the thing is that I had 2 kids with me, and I was going to the car, and I was, talking to this person, and I apologized. I said, got my kids and stuff. But then, because still the fact of the matter, isn't it? You can talk to these people and be as nice and as honest and try and maybe give them even some advice or something like that. But then, even then, that was just a bad moment. I was on my own with 2 children and I was walking them to the car. But yeah, you're right. I'm just so much better at that stuff. But in the podcast, I don't know, apart from us getting better at this, talking episodes, podcasts, you can even go as far to say interviewing, but really it sort of is interviewing, but really you're just I'm interested in interesting stories from people, or people who overcome something. Like Chris is a great example, someone who's overcome something, but an engaging story. But the main thing is helping people, isn't it?
Yeah, and listening as well.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, no, listening for me, I think, is, and I think reading the signs that someone is okay, this person's starting to open up a little bit, and just listening. And just asking those sort of open questions, which I learned from Nathan Jackson when he was on, and
keeping engaged, as a listener,
Again, people have got a lot of stuff going on, and you don't know how much stuff is going on in this person's head.
Yeah, true.
So it's just spend a little bit of time with them, You know, 'cause, you just never know.
Definitely.
You're right,
So that's
though.
what I've learned.
I think listening is a good one, because going back to like one of our couple of our early episodes, we were all guilty of it, and we would talk over each other. And then like sometimes you think like, if I don't know, you're excited about saying something, then, or you get other people. Sometimes you might be talking to someone and you're thinking you're just waiting for your turn to talk, and you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think what you said then about listening, I agree. I think I'm a lot better at that as well, where you're actually listening to what someone's saying.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah,
Love
really,
that
really
word.
good.
Because I'm terrible for interrupting, because I'm like a very reactive, spontaneous person. So if a thought jumps into my head as you're talking about a railway track or something, I'll be like, oh, I've got a story about that, and I'll be blow.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, I've definitely learned to let you finish, and if that story is relevant still, I will bring it up rather than
Yeah.
Because you might not know which lead in.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
well,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it's not all morbid, but what I'm saying is just good to listen, isn't it?
No, you're right.
Definitely,
Listening is a great thing to say that we've all got better at, and it's an important thing to have, particularly with people who might have been going through something, or
Exactly.
being an ear as a listener.
Yeah.
So that's a common thing we all share then. So we both feel that we're doing better at talking and opening up and listening.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And effectively all we're doing is getting in a room and chatting.
That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
That's all we're doing, really.
I know.
Yeah.
And we haven't got anything, no special effects here. That's what we're doing.
That's all we're doing.
No, but I'd like to add some special effects. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I think-
Lightsabers.
Maybe like Darth Vader, like popping up behind men or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
get
don't
a
know.
green cover, then we'll get some in.
that's true.
What are we feeling on that, boys?
I feel real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good place to end, because we could talk about all the rest of the guests and things like that, but it could just keep going on. But like, it's up to you. We could
Yeah.
keep going, or we can.
Well, it's let's hit home again that it's our. We've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
So it's been a year since we realised that there was something missing from men in general, and we tried to hopefully promote the fact that they should talk and open up about. I mean, that's really important to me personally. Obviously,
Yeah,
you
so-
guys too, and I think we should be fucking proud of ourselves. Because we're not going to stop either, you know. And off air we've been chatting. You know, we've got some things come possibly in the pipeline, and it's really, really exciting. And it's a really good world to be a part of. As just men opening up and talking.
It is.
Yeah, you're right,
Totally
though.
agree.
We won't go into it, but yeah, you're right. Some very exciting things happening behind the scenes of this podcast. And yeah, really, really exciting. Yeah.
Happy?
Real happy.
Happy? Finish there?
Happy
Yeah.
sappers.
More than happy.
Thanks, boys.
No problemo.
See everybody soon.
Cool.